Genesis chapter 21. Genesis chapter 21. Go with me to verse number 1. I'm leaving the gate at verse number 1. Genesis chapter 21. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said. And the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son, being 8 days old, as God commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah would have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. I want to talk within the parameters of time that I have been designated from the subject unproductive progress. Unproductive progress. No, two don't seem to be linked together, but we're going to work with this in our conditions. Be kind enough to tell somebody, I am in the state of unproductive progress. In Genesis chapter number 11, we find the genealogy of the new beginning of the world. Right. Genesis chapter 11, the new genealogy, is where we wind up leaving off from Noah. But Noah has 3 sons. And they leave the ark with their 3 wives. And God says to the family, be fruitful and multiply and replenish. That term replenish means that there was, but there is no longer, so it needs to be done again. I want to humbly submit as we open up with chapter number 11, when God says that something needs to be done, it does not matter what you think and how you feel about it. This might ruffle your feathers, but you better pull them mulch feathers out so you can fly when this is over. It is necessary you understand when God says this is what your purpose is, when God says this is what your occupation is according to kingdom, you do not change it because of how you feel about what God demands out of you. Sir, I don't understand. This is where we wind up now with the Tower of Babel in chapter number 11. Noah has 3 sons. The family is tightly knit. They've just been inside of an ark over 300 some odd days, and they've had to live together. They are a tight-knit family. I know some of you don't know anything about a tight-knit family because you like to be dysfunctional and all by yourself dysfunctionally. But there are some people who have grown up with family and they love the ideal of family. Even if they didn't have family, they love the ideal of family. They love to belong to a larger part, a larger crew, a larger purpose. I don't like to feel like I'm out here by myself. I don't like to feel like I'm out here swimming by myself or working by myself or toiling by myself or standing here dying by myself. I like to know I'm not the only one alive on this earth by myself with everything going on. And this is where we have Ham, Shem, and Japheth who are going through changes. And they have now received the command of God to replenish the earth to the degree that God gives them the same ruling power that he gave to Adam and Eve in the garden. He said every animal that is on this ark is going to have obeisance to your voice. You can eat the meat, you can eat the green, you can have salad if you want, you can have the meat if you want, and they will lay down their lives. He said, but don't take anybody else's life. If you take of the blood, I'm going to be against you. The animal will be against you. The ground would be against you. The law would be against you. Creation would be against you. But if you stay within the parameters of what I'm giving you, then you'll be all right. And it's here now. We recognize that the 3 brothers and all of the family that they have now brought forth, all of the sons, daughters, nieces, uncles, aunts, all of them now have decided in the book of chapter number 11 that we are going to now build us a tower and we are going to live within it and move it into the heavens. Let God leave us and do what he did before. I got to find a church I can talk to. Now, this is without consideration for what God said. I didn't tell you to build a tower. I told you to get busy replenishing the earth. Oh, God, I don't have enough time to play with this. It is key now that you remember what I said. You never change the plans of God. If God said this is your purpose, you don't come up with another option with your purpose. You stick with the purpose of God, lest God tear you apart. And so they decide to build the tower as a family. They are as a family. This is all family, building the Tower of Babel. And the Bible says that God looks down and says they are of one mind and of one language. Now I need to flip the script here and tell you, if God is going to have his people build him a house, they need to be of one mind and of one length. Can't be no 4, 5, 6, 7 different people trying to push the same vision from their visionary eyes. It's not as easy as it looks to bring people and keep them working together, keep them coming to church when you got different characters and different personalities, and this one like this one and that one don't like that one, and this one gets along with this one and this one can't figure out what they don't like about this one. It is something else to be said now, but the Bible said they are of one mind and one language. They are building, and God said we can't have this because this ain't what I want. If I don't stop what they have going on, they're going to build a tower as they have planned, but their plans are not my plans. Would you look at somebody and tell them, if your plan does not go with God, you better watch out for destruction. The Bible says now that God shows up and comes down literally, comes down and changes the languages so that they can no longer understand one another. And thus we have the division of family, who goes their separate ways according to the language they can understand. Would you tell a neighbor you got to go where you're understood? understood, I need to go. If you are not understood, then baby, maybe you in the wrong place. Or God has now changed the language of understanding. We were building together fine until something took place. Well, if we are no longer of one mind and one language, Lord, that'll preach on so many different channels. I said, if we are not of one mind and one language, doesn't matter if the music sounds good, doesn't matter if the words sound good, doesn't matter if the looks are wonderful, doesn't matter if the church is growing. If you are not of one mind and one language with the leader of, baby, you just need to go on and find where your visionary language and mental understanding is. Thank you. Because it makes no sense to sit in a place and be miserable. Makes no sense to sit in a place and go through changes and have to go through battles in your mind. Do I go? Don't I go? Do I go? Don't I go? Should I? Shouldn't I? No. I'm not going to go through all of these stressors in my mind and in my heart and in my spirit. If God planted me here like I opened my mouth and said, then did God change his mind, or did I really hear God the first time? I ain't got no good pushers in here. Was it God that sent me, or did I just want someplace different? If it was God, then I got to stick with the mental language and mindset that God gave me to fight. Is it difficult? Never said it would be easy. Is it hard? Never told you it would be easy. Is it rough? Never told you it would be easy. But I told you that you got a purpose, and that is to replenish the earth. Another neighbor and say, neighbor, God is charging you today to start replenishing the kingdom. If you are of one mind and one language with the kingdom, baby, it's time for you to start producing what the Bible said to produce. It's time to replenish what the Bible said to replenish. But let me leave it. I know you don't want it. It is here now. We move after the Tower of Babel, and the languages have been deferred and broken. We move now into the line of Shem. It doesn't deal with the other two lines, it just deals with one son. Because out of this one line, Shem's name simply means great notoriety, greatness. Out of this line of Shem comes the man named Abraham. Abraham had two other brothers. We'll talk about them another time. And now it is here at the end of chapter 11 that Noah, Abraham, Sarai, or Abram at the time, Sarai at the time, Lot, whose father has died, and their father. When you open up chapter number 12, verse number 1, God calls Abraham to leave where his father had brought him. Notice now, can we talk real good? I got about 30 minutes left, something like that. It is here now, we begin to understand how God operates. He tells Abram, whose name it is at the time. He says, I want you to go to a land I'm going to show you. When he leaves out from his daddy's house and moves, God brings him to the land called Canaan. God, we don't hear about Canaan again until the book of Exodus, where we were a couple of Sundays ago. He brings them to Canaan. Can we talk real good, please? He brings them to Canaan, and in Canaan, it is here now we recognize the timeline that God has presented to us. Because at the closing of chapter number 11, Abraham is 70 years old. When he leaves in chapter number 12, he is now 75. 5 years now. In the closing of chapter 11, Abraham has married Sarah, who cannot have children. He married her knowing she couldn't have children. Lord, I need to find a church. He got married to a woman that was unproductive. Come on. In chapter number 12, which carries on, is when God calls him and says, leave with your wife. And I'm going to make your name great. I'm going to bless your seed. Wait a minute. How you going to bless something that can't take root in nothing? I'm going to find me a church I can preach to. How are you telling me you going to make my name great by my seed when I've got a wife who can't produce? I ain't got enough time to play with y'all in here. It is here now we really begin to understand what it is God is saying. He said, I called Abram out of sorcery, a family of sorcery. If you read the lineage on the latter half of chapter number 11, the family becomes evil and full of sorcery. Now they have forgotten about Noah. They have forgotten about the Tower of Babel. In other words, they have forgotten God. When you look at Abraham, God chooses Abraham out of a family of evil. Got to get out of here. Can we talk here? He has married a woman while he is under evil concupiscence, while he is in a mindset that God cannot touch. And when God calls him, he's already connected to something that cannot produce what God says I'm going to do. Would you nudge a neighbor and say, neighbor, listen. You might have brought some stuff with you into the kingdom that is unproductive. But if God said he gonna bless you, God, I'm gonna find me a church somewhere. You better know God don't care what you brought with you. I got a way as who I am to take the unproductive and make some progress. Y'all ain't happy yet. I knew it. Tell a neighbor, I'm getting ready in the next 90 days to do something that I've never ever done before, because God is going to give me unproductive progress. I got to find me a church I can talk to in here. I said it looked like I ain't going nowhere, but God is going to make sure I make some progress. What God has done. He tells a man who is rich that I'm going to bless your seed, but he ain't got no way to give seed. He doesn't even have a place to put the seed. But when God says I'm going to bless it, I got to find somebody that's ready. He's actually saying to Abraham, I need you to keep working on Sarah. Who gonna talk to me because you can hear? I need somebody that's gonna stick with what I told them to do, even when it looked like it ain't going nowhere. I ain't got enough time to play with all this in here. In other words, he said to Abraham, I know you married a woman that can't have kids, but I'm telling you, at 75, keep working. because I'm going to bless the seed. I'm not telling you when I'm going to do it. But if I told you I'm going to bless the seed, that means you're going to be alive. You're going to live to see it. I got a few of y'all that'll open your mouth and let glory come in. Not your neighbor and tell them, I know it look like it ain't going nowhere. But God said, I'm going to give you unproductive progress. I can close here. I'm leaving, y'all. I ain't staying. It is here now. Pick me up in 10 minutes and please blow the horn real loud. It is here now. We really begin to understand, and I'll work with this another time. It is here God proves through Abraham and Sarah. Because Abraham has to work on his wife for 25 years. Y'all didn't hear what I said. Come here real close. I said Abraham has to keep having intimacy with a wife for 25 years. It would be one thing if it was productive. If I could see, even if you had a miscarriage, I could tell that something is changing. But for 25 years, I don't see anything productive. Tell a neighbor, I don't know where you're going in life, but I know if God tell you it's going to happen, you better keep on doing what God said do. God, give me a church that'll holler like they ready to prophesy. Find somebody that'll talk to you real good and tell them you better not quit now. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but you better not quit now. The race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but the he that endures. Tell somebody I'm still in the fight. Tell them I'm still on my feet. Tell them I still got my armor on. Tell them I still got my sword in my hand. I don't know who I'm helping in here, but tell them I refuse to quit now. Because I don't believe he